Welcome back. This is Luke Smith of RealVacantLand.com, and I got another property to share with you. This one I think would be good for an O'Reilly's Auto Parts store or something similar to it. This is a business property where you can put your business, make your money to pay for where you want to live or whatever else you want to do in life, right? This isn't the kind of property you should build a house on. So let's jump into it and take a look at this thing. Before we do, I, I buy these properties by creating these pricing models and go after properties that aren't for sale in the market. I send out mail. I send out lots of mail. I send out lots of marketing to try to find these properties, get my hands on these properties, and then I show them to you guys and let you guys paw through the best of them and take off with them and go make them happen. I love hearing the stories about what you do with these properties after you go buy them from me and go make them happen. And so if you have more stories about what you're doing with the properties you bought from me, please chime in, throw it in the comments. Love to hear some more. And I have a dream of making more of these presentations on the same property but different kinds of use, and playing a game with myself or with you guys if you guys are willing to chime in and share of I think the game is something like best use. You know, people are always talking about in real estate, what's the best use for this property? But nobody gets down to what is the best use? You know, what is it? And I think it's an iteration process of trying different things to see what makes the most economic sense and the highest probability of success, and all those kinds of factors go into it. It doesn't make one particular thing as the best use, but what rises to the top. And so I'm trying to figure out what rises to the top. So I'm trying to figure it out for you guys. I'm also trying to figure it out for myself, because part of my dream is owning some of these things someday, and building them out and getting the cash flows off assets like this for my kids and pass on to my kids, right? Take care of their college and stuff. So this is a tool. O'Reilly's Auto Parts is a tool, and I want to build out my toolbox and have lots of different tools we can tackle these properties with. So I'm learning, I'm studying, and that's part of what I'm doing here too, is I'm trying to figure this out for myself. So if you have comments, questions are great, because I got to figure out answers and I do more research, right? Um, Feel free to point stuff out, make fun of me, and all that good stuff. So let's jump into the property. We're on ruralvacantland.com. And this property, I think, is good for an auto parts store. I made a video previously about a Dollar General kind of store going here, or a gas station kind of store going here. Now I'm trying my shots at a auto parts store, and I think the economics are clearer, maybe because I'm learning more about the data and information and stuff, but we'll see. So this is Duval County, Florida. And when we're talking about these commercial properties, and when you want to be the landlord of one of these commercial properties, we're comparing incomes, like how much money does it cost to buy and develop one of these things versus how much money can I get out of it over time. And I'm going to walk you through that, what I've found on this property. So I'm asking 325 grand for this one in Duval County, Florida. It's 1.25 acres. It's on a busy street. And so as I'm coming up with the pricing models to price these things, I'm spot checking and I'm comparing and I'm trying to build out my databases to be better at buying these properties for you guys. More accurate, more deals, more higher probabilities of success, right? Lower cost of mail. Um, Traffic is huge. This property has 17,900 cars a day on average going by out front of the property. That's a lot of traffic. And the demographics, let's jump into demographics on this one. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, so I'm in Crexy.com. And we've got pictures of the property over here. It's on a busy street. It's a rectangle on a busy street. And so within 1 mile of this property, Crexy is saying we got 3,500 people. And look at their incomes. It's kind of small on the screen, so I'll just tell you. This is $49.1 thousand. This is their estimated income, or their median. Yeah, the estimated incomes. And then within 3 miles, it's 50,000. Within 5 miles, it's 46,000. So it goes off a little bit as we go out further in distance. So 3 miles, we got 33,000 people, and 5 miles, we got 88,000 people. So each one of those is more different relevance depending on traffic flows and things. They're not going to be always exact property by property, but that's the data I have that's easier to get. So I'm comparing this data to other properties and what kind of data they have. So we're kind of like $45,000 to $50,000 income in this area. And we're talking 3,500, 33,000, and 88,000 kinds of people. Okay. And then So I went and I looked around and I did a bunch of searching and I looked for auto parts stores that are up for sale, because when they're up for sale, then we can get their numbers, right? And I look at the higher price ones and they got more traffic and they got more people that make more money. And I look at the lower price ones and they got less people and less traffic that make less money. It makes sense. This is a market, right? And so when I start to understand that relationship between traffic and people and incomes and how much money you can rent one of these stores out for to an operator who operates it, like O'Reilly's in this example, it could be, insert whatever auto parts store. Um, I can go up and down and I can figure out by price where we're at in the pile with this particular property. And then from there, I can go back and I can price the property accordingly. I can go back and I can make offers on properties based off of that kind of research, and I can price these things based off of that research. And I think I can get much more competitive in the marketplace. That's my idea. That's my hope. It's a dream, and so I'm sharing it with you. So this property, I found this property. It's brand new built, right? Like they just bought the land and they built an O'Reilly's on it, and now they're selling the O'Reilly's. They've got a corporate guarantee. So O'Reilly's did a corporate guarantee that they're going to rent this thing with a good credit rating, and the lease starts 7/1. So it might not even be fully built. 7/1. We're in 4. I just said 3 months from now. So they're not even moved in yet. So the lease should start 3 months from now. And the rent with O'Reilly's paying all the bills. They pay the taxes, they pay the maintenance, they mow the lawn, they sweep the parking lot. They all the car parts, people change car parts in the parking lot. They get rid of all that. Like all that stuff goes on their back and not ours. And we rent it to them. So these people are renting it to them, not we, but whoever built this building. So they're renting it to them for $126,000 a year. I would love to get some income like that if I built one of these things and set it free, and I wouldn't get to keep that all because I'd be using some bank money, but some discounted version of, after I pay the bank money, some smaller piece of that I could put into my pocket and not really have to do anything, and that'd be beautiful. That's the dream, right? That's where I want to end up. So how do we get there? Well, these guys are asking for let's see if they got the cap rate on here. A cap rate of 4.5%. So if we pay the sticker price that they're asking for this property, we get 4.5% a year back in rent. So it trades like a bond or a annuity kind of thing, and 4.5% is what they're asking in the market. Now, probably, I don't know, maybe they get it because it's a brand new building, but maybe it's more like 5% or 6% or something like that they actually get. But they're asking 4.5%. And they're asking $2.8 million. So the price over here is $2.8 million. That's what they're asking for this building. So I looked at a whole lot of these things, right? And so let's look at the demographics of this sucker. So 1 mile, where ours is 3,500, theirs is 5,103. There's got a little bit more traffic or a little bit more people within the 1 mile. Their incomes are 64,000, so a little bit more. And the 3 mile was 27,000, so we've got more people in the 3 mile. They're 27, we're 33. Incomes are 63, so a little bit more on the income side. We got more people. 5 miles, they got 59,000, we got 88,000. We got a lot more people in the 5 mile radius than they do. There's a smaller town, there's in Tennessee and stuff. They got 56,000. They're a little bit more income in the area. Okay, so I think this is pretty close, right? It's hard to get exacto scientific. These are exact numbers on all these different hits, but this is pretty close. And then I pulled up the traffic on this thing. Did I have it on here? Yeah, 16,000 vehicles a day. So this is the property right here, and right in front of it, 16,000 vehicles a day. But that's like 2003 data, so it's probably more than that. My data on mine's old too. But the data that I have, they got 16,000 cars a day. We got 17,900 cars a day. So we got more traffic. They got a little bit more population in the shorter little area. we got more population in the bigger areas, and yeah, the numbers are pretty close, right? Okay, so how much does it cost to build one of these things? Well, how much did they pay for their land? That's a good question. So I looked up how much they paid for their land, and I found they paid 2016. So it took them a while to actually do something, but they paid $365,000 for their property. I'm offering mine for $325,000. So I'm asking a little bit less than these guys. The building cost I've got this Cummings, like they do building costs for all these reports and stuff, the building costs. And so retail in Orlando, which is the closest metropolitan to the property in Jacksonville, Florida, they're asking 200, they're saying $238 a square foot. So if we go back and we look at the size of what they built, okay, so they built a 7,255 square foot building, and they got it like a 1 acre property, and we got like a 1 acre, or ours is a 1 1/4. Our building, it fits, right? Ours is a little bit bigger land, so this times 238 a square foot. So this is how many square foot they built times the local building cost for retail generic price, the newest ones I can find. It's going to be something different, but this is, the best data I can get on for putting this presentation together in like a reasonable amount of time. So we're talking this number, 1.7, a little over $1.7 million to build this thing out. And so if you still got to buy the land. So 1.7 plus the 325,000 equals, okay, $2,050,000 for the build and the land. And it's like, Luke, that's a lot of money. How do you pull that off? Well, you call your local banker. And SBA does like 10% down, but I don't know, it's a new build. Maybe you can't get away with that. You could probably get away with SBA 10% down if you shop around, you find the right finance. But let's talk about regular banker kind of finance, 20% down. Maybe some of the bankers want 25 and 30% down because you're new at this or something. But I think you could probably get away with 20% down if you shop around. And feel free to do the math accordingly to whatever your bankers let you get away with. So let's do 20% down. So we got to put down 410 grand to buy this property and build this sucker, right? Build one of these things. Let's say we got a lease from O'Reilly's, and they're like, oh yeah, you'll build a building for us, we'll rent it, same prices as what this other one is doing. Okay, so we put down 410,000, and then let's write that down. So down payment, 410 grand. I'm just gonna round it off. Okay, so where's our so here's our build, and here's our build and buy land cost. And let's do the $2.8 million sale price. Let's say we built this thing, we sold it for the 2.8 that these guys are asking. $748,000. Let's just say, so that would be our 410. We would get 748,000 over $410,000 that we put up, right? So if we looked at how much we'd get back after pulling this off, if we just built it and sold it right away, we would get a 1.8 kind of factor. So 1.8 times our money. And I'm sure there's more complicated versions of doing this. This is just basic crackerjack math. You're going to want to look at the timelines of payments along the way, taxes, insurance, and lots of stuff involved, right? It's going to be more detailed, but I'm just showing you that there's room for error in here. There's room to make money on building one of these kinds of shops on this property that I'm presenting. I had another idea here that I'm spacing out on. Okay, let's say you wanted to buy it and keep it. So if you want to buy it and keep it, so let's say you put up 400, because that's my dream, right? I want to own one of these things someday. So if we had 126,000, but there's going to be debt. So there's going to be debt payments. This wouldn't make a whole lot of math sense. But 126,000 over the 410, it's going to be beautiful sauce, but it's not going to make sense. So I don't know how much the debt payments would be, like a 30%, but you got to take the debt out of there. So this one doesn't even make sense. So the debt payments on this would probably eat up, 60, 70 grand or something of the 126 that comes out of it. And whatever kind of interest rate you get, however fast you're paying your money back and everything else, all those kinds of structurings, you figure that out and see what kind of cash flow yields you can keep out of it from there when you keep it for yourself. So just ideas, Luke ramblings, right? So let's go back to the property. Here's the property. Here's some pictures of the property. It's a rectangle with a busy street. This is like multiple lanes with a turn lane and stuff right out in front. There's a mobile home park across the street. Bet you, they'll be buying car parts all the time. Okay, so we've got a realtor on this one, and you can call them and talk to them, get a tour, go through all the numbers and everything else. Tyler's on here. We got his phone number, 904-373-0578. So give him a call and say, I'm interested in this property. I want to put my auto parts store here, whatever it is. You could probably find some business that does even better business on this kind of traffic and road than an auto parts store. But auto parts is what I'm looking at. Oh, I wanted to map it out. Okay, so the property is right in here, right? It's got this RV park across the street. To the south, there's Sherwood Auto Parts, which looks like, kind of garage where you get the car fixed more than just buying auto parts. There's Advanced Auto Parts, which is like, would be a super competitor to putting an O'Reilly's in here. These guys will sell you auto parts all day long. And then to the north, there's an Auto Zone. So there's an Auto Zone. You can buy all kinds of auto parts there. And if you're coming to the area to fix your car and you need a new water pump or something, and the Auto Zone doesn't have it, and the Advanced Auto Parts doesn't have it, O'Reilly's, if you put O'Reilly's in the middle or whatever your auto parts store is, there you go. So people like to have auto parts store, multiple auto parts store next to each other. It's kind of like Burger King's business model. Best place to build a Burger King's right next to a McDonald's. People go there for food, and then both businesses get more business off of it. So when you have competing businesses next to each other, that's just how it works. So big busy street. Advanced Auto Parts down here. Auto Zone to the north, and your auto store goes in between, close to the freeway. I think you get more traffic than these other ones. That's the property I've got up for sale. So I'm jumping back to it. $325,000 for Duval County, Florida, just outside of Jacksonville, and got yourself a place to build an O'Reilly's or something like it. And this O'Reilly's an example. They paid $365 for theirs. They're building it, or it's built, or it's almost ready to be delivered. And so I think $325 is cheaper than what these guys paid to pull this off. And I think you could take a look at this one and see if it's right for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's Luke Smith, ruralvacantland.com. See you in the next one.